This program is about Ancestry DNA and using their tools to help you find your family history. This is a beginning class and will give you an overview of what is available and how it can help you. The first thing you need to do when you take a DNA test is to start building your family tree. This is a tree I have built to show the descendants of David Worth, the father of Jonathan Worth. This is where you will attach the DNA test to the person in your tree, probably you, who has taken the test. This tree should be as large as possible. Make sure you add as much information as you can find. This will become important once the results come back. There are instructions on the test kit to show you how to connect it to the person on your tree who took the test. It is extremely important that you connect the DNA test to the person in the tree who took the test. Now that you have attached your test and sent it in, the results come back. Now what? When you sign in, you will get a screen that looks like this. I will take you through each of these and explain what they are and are not and how they can help with your genealogy. Just to be clear, this is my mother-in-law's DNA. She has passed away and my husband has given me permission to use her in this presentation. First, let's talk about settings. Make sure you fill all of these in. If you make a mistake, they can be fixed. I cannot say this enough. Be sure to link the test to the correct person in your tree. If this is not done or is done incorrectly, it will cause all of the features and hints to be incorrect. So make sure you do this and do it correctly. Next are your display preferences. In order to use your DNA for genealogical purposes, you will need to be seen and to see matches. So you want to check this first box. Ethnicity estimates. This is one of the things that can help you figure out which side of the tree your match is from. You never know what hint will point you in the right direction. Then we have your display name. This is the name shown to others viewing your match. Sharing preferences is where you can add people to your DNA account. If you click here, it will show you the 3 levels of access you can choose from. You want to read through all of these before you add someone to your account. Make sure you are giving them the right amount of access to your account. Next, we have notification preferences. When you click on the change button, it will take you to this page. I have blocked out the names here for privacy. I have several different trees, and as you can see, you can choose email and/or push notifications for your family tree and for your DNA. They will notify you when new information or relatives are discovered based on your DNA or family tree. You can opt in to education and promotional offers from Ancestry. You can also opt in or out of giving them feedback when they ask. They will send you tips and offers and keep you up to date on their record collections. You may also be able to help with new features. Next is collaboration, which is when someone adds something to your tree. This is normally a comment unless you have allowed someone access to your tree. This is for the message boards and to unsubscribe from everything. Message boards are like bulletin boards where you can post questions. There are message boards for surnames, places, and etc. At the bottom of the page is where you go to download your DNA. This does not delete it from Ancestry, but once you download it onto your computer, you can upload it to other sites. This can usually be done for free and is discussed in the DNA 101 class. And lastly, we have the delete your DNA results. This cannot be undone, and you cannot re-upload it to Ancestry, so be very, very sure before you do this. Now back to the first page, and we click on Discover Your DNA Story tab. This is the estimates of where Tressie's DNA is from. Your DNA does not always match exactly as you think it should. DNA is very random. Your paper genealogy and your DNA can be different. Even siblings have different DNA. As you can see, this estimate was last updated in July of 2020. Now, this doesn't mean your DNA has changed. It means that Ancestry's ability to pinpoint where your DNA came from has been updated. The regions tend to get smaller after each update. If you click on the list or on the map, you will be able to find out more about that particular region. This is where you can find out more about the specific regions your family came from. As you scroll down the page, you come to the genetic communities. This shows Ancestry DNA members whose ancestors probably came from the same place or cultural group. You can click on the map or on the list for more information. Further down the page, we find the map of genetic cousins and where they are today. If you keep clicking on the numbers, you can get down to just one, and then you can send them a message or look at their tree to see how they are connected. Next, we have the Share Your DNA story. This gives you a link to share with social media or family and friends. Sharing this link will only give people access to this part of your DNA story. All right, and now we check out the through lines. This is a portion of Tressie's through lines. These are all her second great-grandparents. Let's check out Jackson Matthews through lines. When you click on the picture, it will take you to this page. TG is Tressie. This shows how she may be related to some of her other DNA matches. The boxes with solid lines are in my tree on Ancestry. The ones with the dotted lines are not in my tree. This can give you hints as to who and how these people are related. If you click on Amanda Mathis, you will see this. This will show us any records that Ancestry believes are relevant in any family trees. You can add this information from here, but I would suggest you investigate any records and information before you add them. I have found through lines that are very wrong, but they are only as good as the other researchers. The DNA is right, but how you are related may be wrong. Here we can see there is a George W. Matthews and a Daniel O. Matthews. This through line suggests they are sons of Jackson Matthews. However, if you look at their birth dates, you can see they were born after Jackson died, so probably these trees are missing a generation. So be sure to check out all the names before you add them to your tree. This through line is for Edward Matthews and shows 3 different fathers for Jacksons. Since all of these people match with DNA, it is the trees and paper trail that don't match. So you need to go through all of the trees and evaluate them. They may have found something to prove one of these is Jackson's father. Back to the main page, and this time let's click on View DNA Matches. Are 4 of Tressie's children. I have told Ancestry what the relationships are. I will explain how in the next slide. Because I know all of these people, I have not added a lot to their information. So let's look further down the list. The blue dot means I have added them as a DNA match in my tree. These are my notes so that I can see at a glance who the common ancestor is. I have also added her name here as she was using initials. You can add anything to your tree that you think will help you. This is how she and Tressie are related. I have found her in my tree and told Ancestry the exact relationship. As you can see, the match below has a range of relationships. This area also shows you if they have a linked tree and if their tree is public or not. These colored dots are put here by you, and we will discuss their meaning later in this presentation. The top match, I have already told Ancestry how she and Tressie are related, so let's look at the second match. Once you know how they are related and have them in your tree, you will click on Yes to bring up the next screen. In this case, she's related on both sides, so we will click that box and it will bring up this page. This shows you the most likely relationship with the amount of DNA shared. In this case, she is a grandniece. She is the granddaughter of Tressie's sister, and so she is grandniece of Tressie. And now the match looks like this. When you tell Ancestry the exact relationship, you are helping make their algorithm more accurate in the future and making it easier for you to see how your DNA matches. Across the top of the page are various ways you can sort your list. The group filter corresponds to the colored dots. You have 24 colors. I've used mine to correspond to a surname. This way, if I'm researching a particular line, I can sort them by a certain color. You can also use them to represent things like I need to work on this one, this is a mystery, no tree, no clue. You also have a star. This one can be used for things like added to a tree or whatever makes sense to you. You can also add things to your notes like the date you messaged them, the name of the common ancestor, or their real name. Sometimes you can find that in their profile, or if they do not have a tree, you can look for them on Facebook. Some people use the same name on Facebook or other social media as they do on Ancestry. This can help you find people without trees. Here is a match of Tressie's that I am not sure where he belongs. He has 2 unlinked public trees. Ancestry has found no common surnames for the 2 trees. One option is to look at his tree and do his genealogy until you find a common ancestor. Another option is to look at other shared matches. This may give you a hint as to which branch of the tree to look at. Here is a partial list of shared matches. They all have been put in the Matthews family group with my notes on why. The third match has a public tree and a common ancestor. When we click on her, we get this page. This shows us how she is connected to our common ancestor. So in order to find out how JB is connected, I would need to build up my tree and down from Burl and Nancy Matthews. Hopefully this will show us where we are all connected. Now take a deep breath. Hopefully you are not too overwhelmed with information. I hope you have some idea on how to work on all the features of Ancestry DNA. You don't have to use all of them, especially when you first get started. Use just what makes sense to you. But now let me give you a list of the ways to get started on your Ancestry DNA. Don't forget, if you don't understand something or can't remember how to do something, you can always go back and watch this again or watch a portion and then try it out. Here is your list to help you get started. This list comes from Krista Cowan. She's the corporate genealogist for Ancestry. Let's get started. First, you want to review all of the matches with a common ancestor. Add groups and notes as appropriate. This is where you decide how you want to use those colored dots. You can sort your matches so it shows only matches with a common ancestor at the top of the page. Next, review all matches with linked trees. Hopefully you'll be able to find a common surname. If you do not find a common surname, you may have to do some of their genealogy to find a link. Review all matches with unlinked trees. Don't forget that the person who took the test may not be the home person on the tree, but you can look at their tree and search for the connection. Review all matches with no trees. Look for them on social media and see if you can find a connection. Use shared matches, but don't go below 20 centimorgans. Below 20 centimorgans, the common ancestor will be very hard to find. This list is a downloadable PDF you can find on the library website. This was an overview of Ancestry DNA and their tools. You do not need to use all of them. Use the ones that make the most sense to you. If you have any questions about DNA or genealogy, please contact me through email, Facebook, call, or come into the Randolph room at the Asheboro Library.